go up and run around Penfield's property. I I played my freshman year in high school. I played soccer, and then we used to do what we called Penfield runs. So we go up and we run around the library up there, run around the high school, and then come back down. And I remember one time our captain just willy-nilly just decided, hey, let's run through the school in our cleats, and just ran straight through Penfield High School, which was just goofy and stupid, but yeah, memories.
Welcome to Rochester Business Connections, powered by Balberg Marketing, LLC, where I get the chance to chat with Rochester, New York's very best business owners, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders. I am your host, Ben Albert. Don't forget to subscribe, and remember, we don't do advertisements. My fee for this show is simple. If you gain value from the episode, personally share with a friend and explain your favorite part. Let's get started. Welcome everyone to Rochester Business Connections. I'm here with Evan Gargana. How are we doing today, Evan?
I'm doing good, Ben. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm happy to have you here. Evan is part of Scoreboards, etc. And you guys build big, beautiful scoreboards all over the place, right? Give us a bird's eye view of your business.
Yeah, man, we certainly try. So, if you can imagine scaling down a little bit from, what the Dallas Cowboys have or the Atlanta Falcons have, anything from a large video display type scoreboard, so Jumbotron, if you will, to your small little rinky-dink scoreboard at a recreation center, man. We do all that and everything in between. So our main clientele, mostly schools, high schools, colleges, Division III, stuff like that. But, we've worked with several businesses in the Rochester area and even into the Buffalo area now to provide digital roadside signage, to drive traffic into their businesses, to create buzz, to create hype, and to give the people in their area a better experience, if you will, with their business, and allow them to see, hey, we're showcasing this product today, or these service times today, whatever it may be. So we've got some very vast capabilities, which I really like. And being a smaller company, it allows us to be very fluid, very dynamic, to change quickly, to create fast results for our customers, and I love that. I love that a lot.
Love it too. Most the listeners ultimately are from the Rochester region. Where maybe have I seen your scoreboards and I didn't know that it was Scoreboards, etc.?
Yeah, St. John Fisher is probably the biggest one in the Rochester area. If anyone's been to a St. John Fisher football game at Growney Stadium, they've got a very large 25-foot by 15-foot video display out on their turf, and that is all us. So if you've been to that stadium in the last 5 years, I believe we installed that in 2015, that would be our product. Some of the other bigger names, Brockport, we've done their baseball stadium. If you've been to Buffalo State, we just recently did last summer their video display on their football field at Coyer Field. So trying to think, University of Rochester is one of our premier customers. We've done their football scoreboard, their basketball scoreboards in the Palestra, their softball scoreboard, and their baseball scoreboard, I believe. So, and all their squash courts. So anybody from U of R, we're very heavily involved over there. So a lot of reach and I guess community built into this Rochester area, which is where we were started and where we founded, and we've just kind of grown and expanded from there.
I love it. Yeah, I'm the guy that's ultimately going to get popcorn, going to get a burger, coming back. I missed half the game. And then I'm looking at the scoreboard. I'm sure there's a lot of people like me that they're looking right at your scoreboard and never knew it.
Going like, dude, how did they score 3 touchdowns already?
Exactly. And I was looking on the website, these are like big, beautiful, just like it's not an old fashioned scoreboard. I wouldn't know how to describe it. But when I think scoreboard, I think way back to just like LED lights that
Yep.
flash and change, and sometimes they don't work, or
Yep.
signages outside of restaurants where a couple of the letters don't work and you make fun of what it says currently. You guys have like these big, beautiful displays. Talk a little bit about what these, is that a modern thing?
It is, yeah. So, like I said, you see, I kind of call it the trickle down effect. So you see, it started in the NFL. However many years ago, ribbon displays going around the stadium. You go to Buffalo Stadium. I guess I wanted to call it Ralph, but it's the New Era Field. Big jumbotrons up in the corner. All those digitals, basically big giant TVs, is what they are. And we're seeing that trickle down effect come from the pros down to Division 1, which trickles to Division 2 and 3, and then all of a sudden, high schools within the last, golly man, probably 2 to 3 years at the most, more recently than not, are just putting these things up all over the place, which is crazy. I came from a small high school in Penfield, at Charles Finney High School, and like you said, you think scoreboard, you're thinking, okay, that little that number 3 over there, that's not quite working the way it's supposed to work. And then come into these big public schools now, and you've got these massive 20-foot, 25-foot video displays out on their football fields is crazy to me. It's cool, really. And so we work with Samsung. They're our video display provider. So I love that we have that brand recognition with us. I think it carries a lot of weight. They put a lot of time into research and development, a lot of time into product quality control, and they make a really outstanding product. And it's just something that it's nice to have that when you're talking with people, because there's a lot of lesser brands out there, shall I put it in a nice way. With the advent, everything that rolls out into our markets, and even into just the United States in general, there's always a cheaper knockoff version from somewhere else. And so you've got a lot of that flooding the industry right now, in the business realm, in the sports realm. And so when you're able to go in and say, look, we work with Samsung, we want to provide you guys with the best of the best, it's a cool thing to be able to offer to people. And it's something that I did not expect getting into this business. Honestly, it's different. Like I said, my background came from, the scoreboard's over there or whatever, it doesn't really matter, to the scoreboard in a high school game being the focal point where you are creating hype and buzz as much as you would see maybe at a professional venue. And that is unique. It's cool. It's exciting. I played football myself, so kind of having that relay of, man, when I was a kid, if that was something that I got to play and see on Friday nights, it's to be able to give that back to people is pretty cool for me.
Yeah, it's a cool thing. And it sounds like you guys are using the best quality, which is great. You mentioned Charles Finney. Complete side note, I went to Penfield High School, so you
Oh,
were
nice.
literally backyard. We shared a lawn basically. That's how close
Yeah,
it was. Are
it
you
was always fun.
yeah,
We'd always go up and run around Penfield's property. I played my freshman year in high school. I played soccer, and then we used to do what we called Penfield runs. So we go up and we run around the library up there, run around the high school, and then come back down. And I remember one time our captain just willy-nilly just decided, hey, let's run through the school in our cleats, and just ran straight through Penfield High School, which was just goofy and stupid. But yeah, memories.
I wish I was there to see it. That's hilarious, man. Yeah, so are you basically a Rochester native?
I am. Yep. So grew up in Brighton Penfield area till about 8th grade. We moved out to Walworth, on the border of Penfield and Wayne County, and went to Finney. Graduated Finney. I went to St. John Fisher. So I've been here my whole life. So it's a pretty cool thing.
Hey, good stuff. I always like to hear insights from other Rochesterians. in terms of just, you're off work, you're relaxing, you're just going to have a good time this weekend. Where in Rochester or even the region would we see you on the weekend? Do you have any favorite spots and anything you love to do?
I gotta say, it probably depends on the time of day, or I should say, the time of year.
Sure.
If it's fall and it's hunting season, I'm gonna be in the woods, not anywhere near Rochester, probably. But if it's anytime, summer, spring, we spend just a lot of time at home, man. I'm a huge homebody. I love my house. I love spending time with my family. We've got a pool, so if it's summertime, we're outside, kicking it in our yard and in the pool. And if I would consider myself not to be very trendy, and I don't think my wife is either. So we've purposely made friends with people who are trendier than ourselves so that we can get tips on where to go for date night, or any cool restaurants downtown. So some of the fun places we've been is like Nosh downtown is a cool restaurant. I've heard a lot of really cool things about Radio Social. Haven't been there yet, but I've heard that's pretty fun. So yeah, man, I know our city's got a lot to offer, and especially more so in the last, it seems like in the last couple of years. And we've had the opportunity to kind of branch out and explore some of those cool niche places in the last couple of years. And man, we've got a lot to offer, and it just keeps growing and growing and growing. And so it's fun when we get to leave our little nook, our little nook out here in Ontario, and get to the city, and kind of explore some of the cool restaurants and walk around this, South Wedge a little bit. It's a cool experience for us, so it's fun.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Radio Social is great. I haven't been there since the COVID pandemic. I don't know what it looks like in terms of regulations, but yeah, in the past couple of years, they've built so many apartments downtown. There's new restaurants, there's new entertainment, there's new venues. So I'm really excited and hopeful for better and better things to come because we've been building like crazy.
Yeah.
Super side note, this came to mind when you're talking about your house. Do you have like a scoreboard screen or anything at the home?
No, I've got two Samsung televisions, completely unrelated. Bought those well before I was working at the company, but no scoreboards. Although funny thing that you mentioned about scoreboards in a house, I had a really unique request come through probably about a month and a half ago now. An interior design company called, looking for a scoreboard for a 10-year-old's bedroom. It was supposed to be a functional piece of art. And, we hooked them up. And so this cool 10-year-old named Brody's got a brand new scoreboard headed to his house down, I think he's down near New York City, somewhere in the Bronx,
Wow.
which is just something you never would have expected. So, yeah, I don't personally have one, but there is at least one person who does it. So that's pretty cool.
It's my buddy's got a son named Brody, and I was waiting for the punchline that it somehow was his son, and I was gonna run over there to. It's not too late. I was gonna. We're filming this at night. I was gonna run over there tonight. Um,
Shoot a couple hoops.
Shoot a couple of hoops, yeah. But we digress. Talking about COVID and just changes this year. What challenges has the business faced in the past year, and how have you navigated such a weird world we're living in right now?
Yeah, man. It's for us, again, like I mentioned, our biggest clientele is schools. So, schools for the better part of the last 8 months have been shut down. I mean, completely shut down. There's no sports, their budgets are cut. And then on top of that, they've probably got another budget cut coming. And yeah, man, it's been difficult from that standpoint. To when you get a hold of people, or our service guy goes out to do a summer tune-up or something, most of these athletic directors and people we're talking to are like, hey, we thought we were going to do X, Y, and Z, and we just don't have the ability to do that this year. So excuse me, it's been a difficult road. I think, again, going back to being a smaller business, I think that's really helped us. We don't have the excessive overhead. We've been able to stay light on our feet, and although business has slowed, we're still trudging along, still trying to create opportunities. I think one of the unique things that came into play over the last year or so, we partner with a company called NFHS, which is the National Federation of High School Sports, I believe it is. And they partnered with a company called Pixelot that does camera systems. And these camera systems basically get mounted at the 50-yard line or center court, and they enable the school to stream the games live. And so now that we're getting some sports back underway, there is this huge opportunity for these schools to have these cameras installed and be able to essentially avoid all of these COVID restrictions as far as people in the stands and the amount of capacity, because now they can stream these games to anybody, any parent, any grandparent, any cousin, whoever wants to watch can get the link to these games and watch their relative or friend play on the internet. It is a cool thing, and I never would have seen that coming, but we got in, started working with them earlier last year, and we've done a few installs this year, and schools are extremely excited to get these systems in, even if it's just on the hopes that they can have basketball season. Some of them are playing soccer, which is great, and they're able to stream their soccer games, but it definitely sets them up really well come springtime. A lot of these school districts are pushing their fall sports to spring, so their football teams are all playing in the spring, and it's a really unique opportunity to be able to provide that to people, to say, hey, look, I know this is not a great time right now, but we have a unique solution that we can provide to you to help kind of fill that gap, if you will, that is inevitably going to be there.
Yeah. It is a unique time, and it's great you guys have a unique solution. It blows my mind, one thing that COVID did do is it forced businesses to kind of pivot and figure out different ways to utilize their services differently and utilize technology differently. Um, so that's definitely a benefit of you guys being a small business. It sounds like you're always on your feet and moving quickly when you have to. Kind of like an athlete, you got to pivot, turn the other direction to get downfield. Um, so yeah, it's you're obviously investing a lot in these new technologies, streaming, filming games. What else in the industry do I not know much about? Are there any innovations that we don't know much about? Anything that you've been researching or focused on? I'm just curious to kind of be an insider and hear what's new and sexy in the industry.
Yeah, it's I think one of the cool things that we've been working towards recently, and this kind of developed through Samsung. There's a company out there called ScoreVision, and they're essentially a software company. Uh, they specialize in providing the user interface, if you will, for these bigger video displays, and can control them from their iPad, from a cell phone. They have some really incredible technology that they're trying to bring together in somewhat of a partnership with Samsung, and subsequently, something that we can provide to our people as well, where they have incredible capacity to do a lot with modern technology. I think up until this point, probably in the last year or so, scoreboards have been controlled by a very big, clunky desktop metal push button thing.
Right.
And we've talked with a few customers over the last year who've been like, man, how is it that in this day and age we don't have the technology to control that video display from an iPad? And I'm like, I know that Samsung's working on it. Hopefully they come up with something, and we can provide that to you. And I think that's coming down the pike, which is kind of cool. Some of our competitors have something similar to that, which is great. I think, if nothing else, it's a huge benefit to the schools, really, to be able to control that display in a modern way. I mean, that's ultimately what we want. Like you were talking about earlier, is just we want convenience, and we want ease of use, and we want it to be right here on a touchscreen. And I want that, and the majority of people want that. And so to be able to now be at the precipice of offering something like that is somewhere that I didn't expect to be so soon. And not that we're quite there yet, but it's coming quickly, and I'm very excited about it. So that's kind of the sneak peek, if you will, on what might be coming down the line. But yeah, that could be a big thing. It could be fun.
So ultimately, yeah, so easy to use, user friendly, beautiful technology. One thing I was thinking about while you were, explaining this is the opportunity for a device like that to ultimately be able to log stats and log data
Mhm.
as it runs the scoreboard. I feel like the future of the industry has to be bright. You can tell me if that's possible or not, but I can't see why that device wouldn't track data at the same time, where you can take statistics for your athletes at the same time you populate your scoreboard.
Yeah, and I think, again, it's a level of user input that would be required on that to a certain degree.
Mm.
It's funny you actually mentioned that. Nate Hasto just sent me over a text to wanted to connect me with somebody who does sports stats, and I think you may have actually had him on the podcast at one time, a gentleman named Phil. So I'm
That's
really
right.
curious to connect with him and see what that could go towards. It sounds like it could be a pretty interesting fit.
Yeah, he does high school sports stats. He was on both Nate and Phil were on the podcast. I'm curious if that's how they met. I don't know. I don't care. I'm happy people are connecting. But
Yeah,
he does high school sports stats where he basically has like a web system app where you go in, input the stats for your team, and then that can be used by recruiters, agents internally. So as that expands, it would be a good collaboration if they could be inputting into your system. I don't know how that would work, but it would be a great connection.
yeah,
Um, Cool, man. I've learned a lot. I love the industry. I think it's a cool thing that what you're doing here. I want to move into the rapid fire round, Evan, where we just ask short, simple questions where, the listener can learn a little bit more about Evan as a person.
yeah,
Sound good?
man, absolutely.
Cool. Coffee or tea?
I love coffee, but I will drink tea. Uh, but coffee is my must in the morning. Gotta have coffee.
It's just a side note. Both is a correct answer, and you can fill in the blank if you don't like either answers. I don't want to hold you down. The next
I'm
one,
pretty good at picking one or the other.
beer or wine.
Depends what I'm eating, man. I think usually it's beer, but if I got a good steak, I'm going for a nice glass of Cab Sav for sure.
Absolutely. Cats or dogs?
Oh, dogs. No, I hate cats. Can't do that. Mm-mm.
Are you a morning person or do you prefer the evenings?
I am definitely an evening person, but I think part of my personal development over the last year is trying to become a morning person. I find that the people that are the most quote unquote successful in this life seem to be morning people. They get more accomplished, they get more done. So I want to trend that way to just be a better man for my family, for my friends, for the business, whatever that looks like. So I'm trying. It's hard, but I'm trying.
Hey, it goes with not everyone can wake up at 4:30 in the morning and hit the gym. But I do believe kind of what you just said is if you have a good routine and you have an effective morning, I'm not a
Yes.
morning person, but I still, even if I wake up at 10, even if I wake up at 10, I want to be effective in the morning. So I see what
Yes.
you're saying there.
Yep.
Um, Favorite season? It's fall right now, hunting season. Is that your favorite?
It's yeah, I would say probably by default it's got to be. I love summer too, just because warm weather and being outside with family. But yeah, fall, just the smells, being outside, the smell of fall is just it is hard to beat. And I'm a big pie guy. I love fruit pie, so now is like the best time for fruit pie. So
Yeah.
that makes me happy.
I got some pumpkin pie in the kitchen I was going to eat as soon as I'm done here. So
There we go.
I hope it's not gone by the end of our call.
I hope for your sake it's not either.
Social media, if someone wants to be in touch, follow you guys, what social platforms do you use?
Yeah, so I think with COVID, I've been trying to kind of I was trying to get momentum before COVID, man. We didn't have any social media until middle of last year, and I launched on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, and then posted a bunch of stuff that we did last year, and COVID hit, and installs have been very slow.
Right.
So I haven't been super active on there, but there is stuff there. So I believe we're pretty much at scoreboards ETC on most platforms. If you search scoreboards ETC, we'll come up somewhere in there. And so yeah, it shouldn't be too hard to find us.
Cool. One final quick question, iOS or Android?
I'm a big Android guy. Well, I'm a big Android guy, but I kind of just like I don't want to be a Mac guy because I don't want to be a Mac guy. So I'm going to go Android all the way.
Fair enough. Fair enough. One more question, actually.
Oh,
Where can people find you guys? What's the best way to get in touch? Is it via email, the website, the socials, your LinkedIn? What's the best ways to keep in touch with sports, etc., and support you guys?
yeah. I mean, I think if anybody's looking for anything, pop onto the website. We've got a contact us form or a reach out form or whatever. That'll come direct to me, and then I'm usually in touch with people within the day, if not within the hour, depending on what the day looks like and where we are. So, again, not just school related. If we can help businesses to drive revenue in these weird times through a digital display, it'd be you can make money back on advertising revenue. So even if it's a joint effort because people are in a plaza and they want to put up a video display by the road and advertise every business out there. I mean, we've definitely seen the businesses that we've worked with have generated much more revenue after putting in a digital display than before. And so if we can help local businesses in this time be more vibrant, be more excitable, be more interesting to people and their clientele, or even the people that they don't typically interact with. Man, I would love to be able to help somebody do that. I know, like I said, it's been a hard season for everybody, and so if there is something we can do to help some local business get over that hump, I'd love to be at least a resource to help them, because honestly, that's kind of what it's all about at this point. So
I love it. So let me ask this for clarity. So, in theory, if I'm a business, I could buy a display and then crowdsource the display with other businesses and advertisers to help fund it. I don't have to
absolutely.
take it all. There's it's actually probably encouraged that you have other businesses or members of the community advertise on that display.
Mhm.
Um, wow, so I can't see why it's not a possibility in any time of year.
Yeah, and the displays come in various sizes for whatever application. We can do single-sided, double-sided. We could make it triple-sided if we want to. You could make a four-sided piece if you need to. Whatever tickles the individual's fancy. But yeah, man, I think the ability to kind of come together and maybe do some sort of joint effort if businesses are in the same plaza. It's like, man, what?
Right.
That's one way to knock out 5 signs in one purchase and have rotating specials or ads or whatever it is you're going to do to help try to drive business into your door that you might not otherwise get because you just have a static sign out there that just says, hey, welcome to wherever. You know, if, I don't know, it's Wing Wednesday at Jeremiah's and they're offering 25-cent chicken wings, but they've got no way to advertise that. But in the newspaper, man, if you got a digital display out by the road and some dude's driving by on Wednesday and he's hungry because it's 6 o'clock and he worked late, like that's a good way to get a drive-by flyer. So yeah, it could be a unique opportunity for people. I know the cost is a little more upfront than maybe a vinyl sign, but I think the return on investment is definitely there. And we've got the research from Samsung to kind of back that up with a lot of different case studies. So it could be something that maybe people are interested in, but like I said, website's the best way to get a hold of me. And then you can check out what we've done on social media. You know, some of those highlights are there and our website's got a bunch. So yeah, man, we're here and hopeful to continue serving the Rochester community for many more years to come.
Love it. Evan, we'll dive deeper offline. If anybody is looking for a sign, vinyl sign, you do vinyl as well. Or
we don't.
Oh, you don't do, so it's
No.
got it.
Yeah, so we're all just digital signage for businesses. So I guess that's a little bit of a pro, maybe a con, not really sure yet, but I think the digital display thing is if nothing else a little bit of the way of the future. If we're seeing the way the trends are going, that seems to be where everybody's headed. So
digital is the future. And yeah, thanks again, Evan. Obviously, anyone reach out to him. Reach out to me if you want to connect and be on the show. But ultimately, Evan, I appreciate you coming on and chatting with me tonight.
Yeah, Ben, I appreciate it, man. This was an awesome experience. I love what you're doing. I love honestly, I think my favorite part is the introduction video you created, the little digital video. I absolutely love that. I wish I had some serious skills for that. So I'm pretty sure you're probably a Mac guy because, you know, you gotta have a Mac to do that kind of stuff. So I respect that.
Thanks for listening to Rochester Business Connections. Don't forget to share this, rate, and comment on your favorite platform. You can also email me, ben@balbertmarketing.com. Let's connect soon. Until then, keep thriving, everyone.